What's up, guys? Logic over emotion. And in this video, I want to talk about Kamala Harris a bit more because I think in my last video where I talked about Joe Biden and his pick as running mate, I didn't really provide enough detail into why I think that she is the worst choice that he could pick. But again, the best if you actually support Donald Trump. So let's go ahead and get into it. All right, guys, as always, I'd like to remind you to comment on this video, like this video, share this video. If you're not a normal viewer here at Logic Over Emotion, consider hitting the subscribe button. We'd love to have you because here we bring the hard truth while others are busy virtue signaling. So let's actually get into some of these details, shall we? Now, first thing to recognize, right, is already how the media is covering this. You know, if you look at articles, they're carefully using the word moderate to explain or describe Kamala Harris, which is far from the truth. And the reason they're doing this is because there's not really anyone that likes the radical left, but they've been kind of put in a position where where the radical left has kind of taken over the party. And so they're having to do this dance where to appease certain people, they go extremely radical. But then when it comes for the election, you're going to have to kind of dial it back a little bit because you're not going to win anyone over with radical, politics. Now, that being said, that's why they're trying to basically say Kamala Harris is moderate. However, let's talk about a few points, a few things that she supports, and then we'll get into if she's actually a moderate. So I'm just going to run through a few things that she's actually done. So one of the things that she actually did, since we're talking about moderates, right? She actually associated ICE with the KKK, right? Now, we all know there was a point where people wanted to abolish ICE, which makes no sense. We need ICE. We need our border patrol. And she, like so many, jumped on the bandwagon and said that the way they did stuff had people afraid, yada, yada, yada. Look, we need ICE people. We need these people to take care of illegal immigration. And one thing you have to understand is, yeah, it's great. The thing they always want to do is show the person who snuck in and who's doing nothing wrong. But people understand that there's criminals who sneak in and understand that there's a system for a reason. And we need people to enforce certain legislation and laws. And that's just what it is. So to act like ICE is some big boogeyman, I just never understood that. But again, that's a radical idea that we should actually abolish our border patrol. And she definitely supported that. The next thing, let's get into the way she views certain things about healthcare, illegal immigrants, since we're on that subject here. She believes that anyone here, whether illegal or not, has the right to healthcare. Again, they're supporting all these policies and they would be insanely expensive. And look, I'm all for helping people, but people who sneak into the country and are here illegally should not be able to take advantage of healthcare because that's paid for by taxpayer money and all of that. And it clear. I mean, you can look at the numbers. It clearly hurts the economy if you have a bunch of people coming in who essentially may not be paying a lot of taxes or any taxes and then get to take advantage of a system. Speaking of insurance, she said that she will phase out private insurance in lieu of Medicare for all. This is the worst idea ever. Now, there's a lot of people who want the government out of insurance altogether. Make it all private, because then you have competition and prices will go down. But because of how it's mandated at this moment, that is why it's so expensive. So you're telling me we want to go the opposite way, the much more radical way, and we want to do away with phase out all private insurance. And then, of course, they can't answer questions like, will you be able to keep your doctor? Will you have certain issues with pre-existing conditions and all that? There's a lot of stuff around there that they're just not able to answer while they're talking about doing all of this radical stuff. It makes no sense to me I know why they want to do it, because of course creating dependency on the government is their main thing, right? But from a perspective of a consumer, it's terrible and it will drive cost up for sure. And then, she supports some of AOC's ideas. That should tell you enough right there. So, like the AOC talked about the 70%, her and Bernie talked about the 70% tax rate. And, she said that that's an idea that should be discussed, and the Green New Deal, which all that stuff was just unrealistic. She was behind a lot of this stuff. So you guys are understanding she's not moderate, okay? She's definitely more radical than moderate for sure. Let's see, what else do we have? She supported jailing people for small, nonviolent drug crimes. Thousands and thousands of people. And now that's part of what I mentioned in my last video about how there was a lot of opportunities. She could have done stuff for the minority community and did not. And like I said, it's been known, if you see the Tulsi Gabbard thing, it's been known that she's kept people in jail, these people, non-violent people, to use as cheap labor and all of this. I mean, her record, it's such garbage, such garbage. So you have her supporting that. And then, of course, the big one here that's in the news every other day, defunding the police. Of course, now after, I believe it was Los Angeles that had their problems. It was somewhere in California, forgive me for not knowing. But after they had a series of riots and everything, she was right on TV with the rest of them talking about slashing police funding, which, again, guys, just never made sense. So, if these are moderate beliefs, please let me know what the radical ones are, because she sounds like the worst of them to me. And that also made me interested in how are they actually going to handle the campaigning here, right? Like, do they just ignore, because this is the most anti-black ticket I think that has existed. When you talk about Joe Biden and some of the stuff he's supported, known stuff, worked with known racists. And then you have Kamala Harris, whose prosecution record pretty much, stands for itself, right? I just don't think that this is a good ticket if you're a minority. These guys are not here to help minorities, and guys, understand. Okay, they're going to try to talk about this moderate. Let's go back to the days before Trump. Guys, look, this is the thing. Why don't you stop and ask yourself, how were your days while Trump was in office, is in office, and hopefully will continue to be in office, right? I mean, ask yourself that question. After Obama left out of office and Trump came in, and if you're a minority, what in your life really got any worse? I tell you, the only thing that got worse was the media and how they covered stuff and how they single-handedly destroyed America by treating these cases with the police, by acting like they're on a rise. Guys, look, bad interactions between cops and minorities are going down. They have consistently gone down. Nothing has gone up since President Trump. The only thing that's gone up since President Trump has gotten in office is the economy and the media complaining about crap. That's the only thing that's gone up. Okay, the racial tension is not due to Donald Trump. It's due to the media coverage of Donald Trump. That's where I hold the blame. If you guys weren't taking every second to try to make Donald Trump seem like some terrible racist, right? Having to bend everything he says, outright lie, create false narratives, that we wouldn't have all of this. But anyway, guys, I just want to do like I said, an addendum to that last video, because Kamala Harris is radical. Understand that she is radical. She's not going to be good for this country. And please remember that if Joe Biden becomes unfit to serve as president, this is who we have to deal with. Not great. I mean, you may as well have Hillary in there at this point, because Kamala is going to be terrible for the country. So anyway, guys, as always, let me know what you think in the comments. Where do they go from here? Do they just lie about everything in the past? Do they just ignore their actual records and everything they've done? What happens when they have to defend some of the stuff that's very easy to get? And like I said, she when Tulsi Gabbard went at her, she didn't really have a response for her. So what happens now? It's almost going to be easier for Donald Trump to attack her than Joe Biden. I mean, but it's going to be interesting. But anyway, that's going to be it for this one, guys. As always, make sure you comment, like, share the video. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you're not subscribed. We'd love to have you. And you guys have a good one. Take care.